Hey guys, it's the Gruffinator, and today I'm back at the HO scale railway, where I haven't run this locomotive in ages, so I think it's about time I give her a run. Plus I got those two, which haven't run in quite a while, and they are kind of stiff. So let me get my Union Pacific running. Which, I need to lubricate it, I really do. I'm just gonna let it go slowly around. But, that's not what we're talking about today. Oh, then it's stuck. Hang on. There we go. I've been having a lot of trouble with the railway. I think either bad connection, well, obviously it's a bad connection, but I can't find where it is. But there's one over on that side and that side, and I think there's another one on the other side. But now that we got that going, let's talk about the actual video, which is custom locomotives. When you want to build a custom, simple. Work with what you got. Don't go out and buy all this stuff just to build a custom when you could easily use pieces of wood lying around your house. Yes, you might want to go out and buy a round piece of wood, and by the way, you could also use PVC. And the big boy is taken apart right now because I'm doing an overhaul, but here's what we got to show off. You don't want to go, like when I built the big boy, I went all out, but I used what I had. If you look close at it, I used a big piece of wood, but when it comes to the locomotives, you want to go out and buy them, but this doesn't have drilled out holes in it, so I can't show you because it was glued right here. Usually what I do is I drill out a spot. Here's an example. I drill it out like that, and I never get it centered for some reason. But when you're doing it, you want it centered, and you want it to work. So when it turns perfectly. But when going over hills, you got to have a little bit of clearance so it can move back and forth. Let's take the one of my many times overhauled examples, the D51. When you're using the D50, when I built the D51, I wanted it to be as realistic as possible, but when you build something super realistic, it doesn't go so well. Because I had this, all four wheels were up close, and then the tender hooked onto the back too, and that struggled. I don't have any pictures of it, unfortunately. But when I did that, it worked not really well. And yes, I just put another HO scale locomotive on the layout. Also, that reminds me, when you're building your little railways, you need to have a basis for what you're building, such as when I built Diesel 10. I'll bring Diesel 10 in for an example. When I built him, I had a take-and-play Diesel 10, but for Pinchy, I had to go off of an idea. And also, yes, I know the wheels are, they're chintzy. That's all I can say. And also, they're too small, because Diesel 10 normally has them about like there, on both sides. But like I said, work with what you got. Pinchy is built. I've had some questions about how I built Pinchy. He's made with Legos, and these joints, I don't remember where I got those. And then there's a paper clip with a little hydraulic hose to give that effect of, you know, it takes away from the wooden railway aspect. And then you got the, I don't know what that is. But he did also have another basis because of the BR Class 42. Here's one that I didn't use a basis for that turned out well. And yes, when you build them, the D51 doesn't have a basis, and it was pretty well. Oh, they're nudging each other. But when you build them, you don't always need a basis. Like Boko here. When I built Boko, I didn't have a base design for him. And look how well he turned out. And yes, I know, I can't sand. So, it doesn't... Yeah, and that's another thing. You don't always have to be perfect when it comes to the designs. Like, here's one that I'm doing by viewer request. It's still being built. It's gonna be the silver bullet. And yes, silver doesn't go well when it shines. And yes, sanding wasn't done too well either. Here's one that I didn't sand that's gonna be a CSX locomotive. That's your hint. And the reason I'm building American diesels... Hang on. Is I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm making an American locomotive series. Here was supposed to be a rebuild of Diesel 10, which I don't know if I want to keep doing right now, because I might make two different Diesel 10s and ask you guys which is better. But Pinchy hooks in, so that's plus. The only problem is I drilled the hole out a little crappy. If you guys want to see me try and keep building this, just let me know. But I can't guarantee I will. I might make it more like the wooden railway, and less like Diesel 10 actually is. Oh, before I forget... Oh. Let me get this off. Speed it up and make it come over here. This engine right here, this little Southern Pacific, is supposed to have a tender, but it doesn't. Which I'm going to let it run on the railways for a little bit, because it hasn't ran in a while, and for some reason, my these two spark on the rails. Which, this is a Lionel. One of my friends actually says this is a rare model, because Lionel doesn't make HO scale anymore, and yeah, that one of the horns is broke. But someone said that Lionel doesn't do HO scale locomotives anymore, and Santa Fe Super Cheap is quite rare. Also, if you want a size comparison, here's Diesel 10 right next to the Super Chief, which you can go bigger than what they build, like small locomotives. Like, if you know the original Diesel 10, it's about like this big in length. Yeah, you can build, I think that's just a rough estimate. You can build bigger than recommended. Here, I'm gonna get this going. I actually don't know how much power this uses. I know that it's 12 volts, but I don't know how much just running the locomotives works. So we're going to go to the railway over here, and I'm going to show you something. When building, you want to make sure they can clear hills. Like Diesel 10 struggles a little bit when it comes to going over hills. But you can make it over. And then here's the other hill. This one's kind of different because it's... When I bought this, it was a little train set from Goodwill. It was missing some parts, I think, but this was the cap. It turned into a little play area for when you build them. And yes, Diesel 10 can clear it. Barely. Here's another one that you need to... I'm going to push him back. Another one that clearance can be hard on is when you have little bridges like this. So, if you have to work with a limit on your gauge, they, you know. And I know what most people would say, oh, wooden railway is for babies. You can't, it's a little toy, that's all it is. I'll tell you what. Wooden railway is cheap. It's easy to work with. That's why people like it. HO scale, on the other hand, It's expensive. I just had a circle to start with, and that circle plus the locomotive itself both cost me about $150. So, yeah, when it comes to HO scale, it's expensive. But with what you get, oh shoot, shouldn't be speeding it up. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug it. With what you get, it's not that bad. But when it comes to, if you want a model railway and want it cheap, wooden railway is the best thing you can come across, because yes, if you're a carpenter, you can make wooden models for it. Also, your kids will like it too. If you have kids, that is. Like, one of these days, I'm gonna pack up all my wooden railway stuff, and one day, I'm gonna let my kids play with it. Because, who knows, maybe they'll become as creative as me. Anyways. Also, if you don't want to do customs and just want to do repaints, I'm going to turn the light back on. You can also buy models that already exist. Now, I am not going to destroy Splatter and Dodge. But if you don't have a Splatter and Dodge, what you could do is buy 2 of the Mattel Diesels, models of Diesel, and repaint them to look like Splatter and Dodge. Now, Airy and Bert are also very expensive. I'm going to move this so you guys have a better view. Airy and Bert are very expensive, and I don't have either or. What I might end up doing is buying a Diesel, taking the face off, repainting it, which I've never actually taken the face off before. I might just buy a Diesel and repaint. Camera's not focused. Repaint Diesel. You could also just, if you want to do like a wooden railway series, you could take a regular locomotive and just slap a Trackmaster face on it, or a piece of rolling stock and try to do something with it, which, is it a brake van or a diesel? You decide, because I've been wanting to make it either or. It's kind of cut back here though. Here's one that went really well. The General. When building, this is going to be a long video. When building a locomotive, sometimes it can go super well, which, when I built the General, I didn't want it cut off like right here. I didn't want a small model. I wanted to put the drive wheels on it, and I did, and guess what? It actually works with the railway. And I was surprised. Also, I might have to add this. If you don't want tenders to go, you can put a rubber band on them, but sometimes it'll weaken the magnet. Well, it will weaken your magnet. But also, tenders don't have enough weight to them, so if you do that, and you have to have a finger or hand on the tender too, or else your tender's gonna wee if you're not careful. I've had that happen with the D51. Also, in working, you can also get a bunch of leftover ones of these that you can work on. This is from a different thing. This is not a locomotive. I'll just throw it over there. The General is built on an excavator's design, if you didn't notice. If you didn't know. Meaning, if I want to make a realistic Diesel 10, I could buy 2 of those and make it like that. Here's an interesting concept. If you want it to have a certain amount of wheels, you can always cut the frame like this, and then put it together. The magnet's broken, but the Crusader is a great example. Also, if I get the Minecraft world, I'll show you guys what it looks like. And yeah, I believe that's pretty much it on some of the customs. And also, if you guys are wondering what happened to the Freedom Train, yeah, unfortunately it was torn apart long ago. Also, what do you guys want me to do with this? It's never in any of my videos because it's a baby's locomotive, but I'm not a kid's channel. Like, I work with wooden railway, yes, which a lot of kids play with, but this is not a kids YouTube channel. It's a channel where I build locomotives. I'm wanting to try and do a series, but it's, you know, this locomotive just kind of takes off from that. I call it the Goodwill locomotive because that's where I got it from. I've never seen that before. Whatever. I'll look at it later. But who reads rules? Also, would you guys like to see Duck and Oliver, like, not customs, but would you guys like to see the official Duck and Oliver on the railway? And would you guys like to see more Thomas stuff? Would you guys like to see Bill and Ben? Because I got Boko, so why not? But would you guys like to see me add more Thomas stuff to the railway? That's your question for the day. Oh, and before I go, here's a PVC example that can go really well or really bad. This was supposed to be the 1225, which you could probably tell by the design, but I spray painted it and it didn't turn out so well. Also, the wheels were apart, and since the wheels were spray painted, it messed up the wheels. But this is what it was supposed to look like when it was together. So, oh, guys, there's one more thing before I go. Would you guys be interested in seeing me build the 2100? Because a friend of mine loves the 2100, and we've met up in person one time, and I wouldn't mind building a gift for him. I gave him a British flag last time because he loves Britain because of the steam locomotive, because, you know, he loves the British Railway. And I was thinking about building 2 models and keep one for videos and give him one because... Oh, and if you guys want to know what his channel name is, it's Overpowered Steam Productions. And, yeah. Well, I guess I'll see y'all later. Bye.